Next, one of my favorite things to do is to make tags. So I'm going to make some tags to put in the journal to use as itinerary prompts. I'm going to demonstrate that by just making 4 today for various airports. I'm going to cut 2 tags from this scrap that would be a little over 4 inches tall and 2½ inches wide. And great. Yep, 2½ inches, and they're already 4 inches. I'm also going to cut 2 more from this beige. Clearly I've been using this beige to make punches, but it will give me a couple more tags. The reason I'm choosing these solid cardstocks is so that I'll be able to write and journal on them. And I'm going to cut each tag to be roughly 4¼ inches in this case. So these were these 2 were just over 4 inches. I'm going to make this one a little taller at 4¼ inches. Now the fun thing about making tags is that they are so fun to decorate. And I'm going to start decorating these by creating some tag tops. And my tag tops are going to be, of course, 2½ inches wide. And I'm going to make them roughly 1½ inches tall. And so I'm going to make enough for each one of these 4 tags. And I'm going to start by cutting this generously at 2½ inches. It doesn't matter if it goes over a little bit. I actually want it to go over by a little bit, because that way I can trim away the excess. But if it's too short, then it may not. So, looking at something like that. Now this one is so close to being the right height. I'll trim this off. So now I have 4 rectangles that'll become my tags, and I have 1.5 inch strips that are at least 2.5 inches wide. My next step is to adhere these strips to my rectangles, but I'm going to be careful about how I do it, and I'm going to be using my regular tape runner. What I'm going to do is only adhere tape runner to one side of the strip that will be on this lower end. I do not want tape runner at the top. No tape runner here, tape runner here. So the reason that I'm only using tape runner here, I want it to come loose like this. And I don't want it, when I insert it into my punch, to get adhesive inside of my punch. The next step is to cut away the excess. And the best way to do that is to cut from the back side. So now is when I'm cutting away the extra. That's why having it a little wider than 2.5 inches was just fine. If you can see on here, this piece is not on straight, but it's not too late to fix it again. We do want our edges on these sides to be straight, but because we're going to punch away at the top, if it's not perfect here, that won't matter. We want it straight on this side and this side. So now we have these 4 rectangles ready to go into our punch. We'll put it in with the topper first, centered into the guides. This punch, if you have it, punches tags at 1 inch, 2 inches, or 2.5 inches. And I put the 2.5 inch punch in, pushed it to the top, and punch. And out comes our nice tag, perfectly aligned. And so our next step, once we do this, we still have this flop. It's when we pull out our repositionable tape and secure that top down now. You don't have to align any edges because you punched it together. I have decorated our tags with airport 3-letter codes. But let's take it a little farther and get out some stickers and punches and have a little bit more fun. I'm going to cut away 1 strip of stickers using the 12-inch trimmer. Now while the sticker sheet is a little bit long and it may not cut to the end, I will just use scissors to finish the cut. To make sure I'm only cutting between the different strips and not cutting the sticker itself, I'm going to use guidelines. Now you could also hand cut this away, but I really want a straight cut. I'm also using this little arrow on my shuttle for the blade to try to make sure that I'm very likely not going to cut my sticker. And between my guidelines and that arrow, I think I can get a good cut. And I did. So there are two ways in which I can use the sticker. I could actually cut it into 2.5-inch strips using my trimmer, but I think I will just start putting the stickers down and using the scissors to trim. And I'd say this little bit of sticker that's left is very likely going to be used before this journal is done. Remember these leftover scraps? Let's make tickets. Here's the secret to making tickets. Typically with the Creative Memories punch, you align your paper when you start with one of these black lines. Well, this time I'm not going to do that. Not with this punch. I'm going to line the edge of my paper with the holes right here. So I'm going to start punching from here to there. Then I'm going to take my paper and slide it over here and line up with the blue on this side. Then out comes one ticket. Once again, I will align it up with the holes on the side of the punch. And I want my edge about in the middle, as though it was a ticket that was cut. And then I'll slide it over, align the blue up, and I have a whole ticket once again. So I went into my scraps, did some more punching with the compass punch, and now I have 4 fun itinerary tags that I can't wait to put in my journal. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode where we'll make a journaling page.